High country killer Greg Lynn has formally lodged an appeal in Victoria's highest court as he seeks to overturn his murder conviction over the death of retiree Carol Clay. Lynn, a former pilot, was jailed for 32 years for the murder of Ms Clay 4 years ago. Christian Silva has the details live from Melbourne. Christian, what do we know about the appeal?
Good afternoon, Melissa. Well, this appeal is not something that's coming as a surprise to anyone. What Greg Lynn is doing is he's contesting the jury's verdict, which found him guilty of murdering Carol Clay in 2020, and he's also contesting the 32-year sentence which Justice Michael Croucher imposed in the Supreme Court a couple of months ago. This all dates back to this case in 2020 in the High Country in Victoria, where Greg Lynn was involved in a fight with two retired campers. Both ended up dead. Carol Clay was shot in the head and Russell Hill died by a means which still hasn't really been confirmed. Greg Lynn insists that Russell Hill's death was accidental and Russell Hill basically fell on his own knife. The jury found Lynn guilty of Clay's murder but not guilty of Russell Hill. As for this appeal, we don't know what the formal grounds for the appeal are, but we've got a pretty good idea of what Greg Lynn's lawyers will be arguing. Over the last few months, they've been complaining that during the trial, the prosecutors didn't follow rules of procedural fairness. So they may point to that as a reason why this verdict is considered unsafe. And another reason is the fact that the jury was split with their verdicts. By finding Lynn guilty of one murder but not of the other, Lynn's lawyers have said that the jury has travelled down what they've described as a forbidden pathway and that their logic doesn't make sense. So, Melissa, we'll have to wait until we see the actual appeal documents or hear the arguments in court before we know for certain the reasons why they're appealing.
Yeah, so Christian, what are the next steps of this case?
Well, this case will now go to the highest court in Victoria, the Court of Appeal. And the first thing the Court of Appeal will do will be to obviously read the submissions that have been made by Lynn's lawyers, and they'll have to consider those. If they believe there's some merit to it, then they will grant an appeal, but they then have to consider the merits of that appeal. So if they do go to that step, there's likely to be hearings next year where lawyers for Greg Lynn's team and the prosecution will be in court fighting this one out. And then if they consider that there is an appeal and has some merits, the court could order a retrial. So, Melissa, there's quite a long way to go in this legal saga, certainly not something that will be finalised this year.
Christian Silva reporting there. Thank you.